Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in today's video, we are going to be talking about you're organizing your house wrong, how to do home organization. Listen, I don't pretend to be a person who understands or really is good at home organization, but before you click away and go, why am I listening to you? Fair question. Hold on. I'm actually the perfect person because I'm actually like the path of least resistance kind of person. Like if I have 2 steps to do anything in my house when it comes to home organization, I'm angry and I'm not gonna do it. So I think you, or at least your family members, are probably like me, in which case I'm probably the best person to listen to because I'm gonna give you some tips that I think have practically worked in my own home, and we'll see what you have to say. By the way, if you see anything, I did a part 1 on this, and so if you haven't seen, these are the bullets of the items. So if it's not on that list, go check out that video and you can get that explanation. But I'm gonna go over some new ones in this video, so let's get going. Okay, but before I tell you how to organize your house wrong, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Wildgrain. So pretty much one thing to know about me is that I love a baked good. I'm sorry, but it's my weakness. But Wildgrain makes it really easy to feed this sweet treat habit of mine. And that is because they ship you amazing, wonderful products frozen to your home from small bakeries. And then you just have to put them in the oven and they all come together in less than 25 minutes. So in my current box, I have sourdough, I have ciabatta, I have apple cider donuts, pumpkin cinnamon biscuits, Belgian waffles, ravioli, and croissants, which is all amazing. Eden and I have actually really been enjoying our little croissant parties that we're having in the afternoon. Just a nice little way for us to relax and have just a little treat in the middle of the day there. These are just so buttery and flaky and delicious and so easy to do. They come together in less than half an hour. Wildgrain uses a slow fermentation process that's easier on your belly, richer in nutrients and antioxidants, and can help lower blood sugar spikes. So needless to say, our cup of tea and Wildgrain croissants have become a daily ritual here at nicklewis Enterprises. If you want to check out Wildgrain, go click on the link in the description and use code nicklewis for $30 off your first box of Wildgrain. And let's get back to the rest of the video. Okay, first on my list is going to be to hide your bathroom products. So there are a couple of things I think that have gone away. First of all, I see these vanities that people have on these like makeup displays and skincare and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what you guys got going on, but you've got a lot of stuff on your vanities and nothing makes me angrier than that. And here's the thing, I love a medicine cabinet. I don't care what anybody says. I just love them. I think they're great. I think that they are so easy and so convenient. I like ones that sit and float on top of the wall, if that makes sense for you. If you maybe have like an external wall perhaps, or you live in an apartment and it's like your neighbor and obviously they don't like it when you drill through your wall into their apartment. Neighbors are so weird like that. Bunch of Karens, I tell ya. So if you can't inset them, then I also think they're really great when they're off the wall. I think those are totally fine. I love, love, love it if you can actually inset the medicine cabinet into the wall so that it just looks like a floating mirror. I mean, that's amazing. You can just you sit there and you pull your little medicine cabinet, you got all your little hopes and dreams in there for the day. I just love that. So I think medicine cabinets are great and an underutilized resource when it comes to home organization. And I think that people need more of them. Also, I think your bath products and all your shower products and things, I think that if you do have a shower curtain, I think that it makes sense to keep it closed like most of the time. Obviously when it's in use, obviously you have to open it. That's like what it's there for. But so often I go into people's like homes and they've just got the shower curtain open and like, I don't need to see all your stuff. I don't need to see all your stuff. So small thing, little thing, but I think that's really important. Also consider having 2 shower curtains. Have one that's like a plastic or some sort of nice liner that is meant to get wet, and then one that's really nice on the outside. I just think it looks a little bit nicer. You can therefore have like the nice one that's sort of outside the bathtub if you have like an alcove situation. And I think that looks really good. But then of course you got the waterproof stuff on the inside. So I think keeping your shower curtain closed, putting little organizers to get stuff off the vanity and into that cupboard is going to be super, super helpful. And don't forget the medicine cabinet because honestly, they don't make enough of them. And I think they should because I think they're amazing. Okay, next up on my list, and this is kind of building off the bathroom, but now we're going to also talk about the kitchen, is going with these built-in sort of vertical risers. I think these are super helpful and underutilized in people's homes because people have a lot of verticality, if you will, when it comes to their cupboard systems, but that's often not really what you need. You need actually small little storage, especially in the kitchen and the bathroom. So let's go to the bathroom because I was just there. So the bathroom, you have these like cavernous sort of cupboards underneath your bathroom vanity, right? You probably have them. But like, You want little spaces for your little ordinary creams. You know, you got the ordinary ones there, whatever. You got your little drunk elephant marula oil or what have you, right? Your little cosmetics in there. You got your little makeup and blah, 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 blah. But you don't, what are you supposed to do when you got this giant cavernous sort of situation that's happening there? Enter the vertical riser. These are very, very important, I think, in your bathroom especially, because they allow you to stack other sort of, you know, different tins or baskets or whatever to keep yourself organized. I think these are amazing. I will also say bonus, considering the ones that have little screws that you can actually affix into the units, I think those are really, really great because the little slidey out units will oftentimes fall off the edge or they'll flop around all over the place. And if you stack them, they become really difficult to stack and they can flop over and nothing's gonna ruin your morning, quite like all your cosmetics stacked falling off of each other because you decided to build this little leaning tower of Pisa under your bathroom vanity. So I would consider baskets and tins and all sorts of things, but on vertical risers, I think they make a huge, huge difference. Some of them lock in, which can be really great because you can sort of customize them or even snap in or whatever. And sometimes you got ones that actually screw right into the vanity so that they're not going anywhere. I find those to be so helpful when it comes to actually stacking those small little things that you probably have plenty of in the bathroom. This also goes for the kitchen as well. You might have ones, little risers for spices, for example, or even just food storage, honestly. It's just so much easier to turn these giant cupboards into something a little bit more manageable for actual small items that you're gonna use on the regular. Okay, next on my list is going to be taking advantage of the outdoors. So this is something that was really huge for me when I had my last apartment. It's also true, honestly, now that I'm actually in a house, which is that having space outdoors is amazing, right? If you have a crawl space underneath, that's fantastic. But even if you have a patio, going with sort of these little cupboard systems that are waterproof or at least under, you know, maybe a covered area can be really, really helpful. I find that interior storage is oftentimes more prized than exterior storage. Now, a lot of you are gonna be like, you haven't met my husband because he's got like so many different hobbies and tools and crap that I don't know, that's not me, obviously. I have a Fixa from IKEA, okay? That's my tools that I have in my home, that little Fixa wrench and hammer set. Perfect. Why would I need anything other than this? I don't know. But listen, you might have a whole lot more, so you might feel free to disagree if you've got a lot more stuff that you're storing externally than I do. You probably do, especially if you have kids, whatever. But I do think though, that the outdoors opens up such a massive opportunity for extra storage that you're not gonna have indoors, right? So interior storage can be really difficult to find. It can be really difficult and really sought after because you just wanna make the most of the interior storage you have, whether that's for linens, whether that's for games, whether that's for video game stuff, whether that's for, you know, whatever, toys and crap. I don't know what you have in your own home, but chances are if you're like the average person, you've got plenty. So you need a place to store it. Interior storage matters a lot. Considering though, taking a lot of that stuff and storing it externally. Putting up shelving systems inside your garage is fantastic. These little patio boxes are amazing. You can open them up and then you can chuck all your stuff in there, close it up, and assuming that they make them really like waterproof now, so they're a lot easier to be able to use. Those are fantastic ways for you to store extra stuff outside the home so that you can free up space inside the home. Okay, next tip I have for you, this is something I have also learned the hard way is, and I have actually figured it out after all these years of living on my own, and that is don't store low traffic items in high traffic areas. So what do I mean by that? There are some items that you use regularly, right? Plates, let's talk kitchen for a second, right? Plates, and you've got your mugs, and you've got maybe your servingware, like all that stuff needs primo real estate in the kitchen. No one's gonna fault you there, okay? No one's gonna dispute that. But there are gonna be a lot of items that you actually don't use all that often. You might need them because you need them in a 365-day period. You're probably gonna use these items a few times. I'm talking about like a turkey platter. I mean, how many times are you using that? You're using that for Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas? How often are you wheeling that out? Even if you're using it once a week for a Sunday dinner, honestly, you just don't need to store that in primo real estate. It could be like extra wine glasses. You might store 2 or 4 wine glasses in your kitchen, but I think having extra storage in a dining area or in a low traffic area that's not used as often is a much better use for those items. So back here, this is where all my Fable wine glasses, my champagne flutes and all that sort of stuff, my little martini glass, so all that stuff is in there because I don't use it all that often because I'm not an alcoholic, and if I was, I don't have 8 alcoholics that are here with me all the time drinking 24/7, okay? So I don't need it. I don't need it stored in the prime time area in the kitchen. That's why it's here. So organize your house by thinking, what are the items that I'm gonna be using once a week, once a month, once a year, and storing them in those low traffic areas. If you have hard to reach spots in the top of the cupboard, that's where you put the soup pot that you only make for, you know, getting turkey stock once a year, okay? For after the day after Thanksgiving. That's what that's for, okay? You have that one pot, consider storing it outside. I've done that before. But if not, store it in that super high cupboard that you're never gonna use, because that's not where you're gonna put it in somewhere prime time, okay? You're gonna put it in somewhere really low use. Don't store bathroom linens in your front hall closet. If you have like a front hall closet area sort of nearby the front, that is going to be reserved for when you have guests come over, when you're gonna put your coats, your family's coats and things. That is not where you're going to store low use items that you're not gonna use. All your extra bedroom linens for your guest room, that's not where they go, okay? You're gonna find a better use for that in a low traffic area. Next up on my list is gonna be like a really basic one. I don't wanna talk about it for a long time because I think everybody kind of practically does this, but surprise, I don't know who needs to hear this, but that is that I think that you should be, when it comes to your wardrobe, you should be doing 2 flips a year, okay? You should be doing like one in the spring and one in the fall. And that is that your spring stuff needs to be put down somewhere like maybe outside, maybe in a low traffic area during the winter months, and you need to flip it in the fall. Now, that might not be true for other items because some items like t-shirts are kind of an all-weather, all-year thing. Surprisingly, I do this all the time, which is why I say it's a really simple, honest, basic trick, but I don't do it half the time, is I don't dedicate a day in the spring and a day in the winter to basically flip my house and just like have all my things ready for the next couple of seasons. Because the amount of like winter sweaters that I have sitting in my closet taking up prime time space in June is shocking. Like I probably need to store that under the bed, store that in a low traffic, difficult to use spot so that that's where I can store all my winter clothes. I know it seems obvious, right? Who's sticking their giant winter jacket on their front hall closet for the middle of August? Me. I have. I told you I'm not the best, and it's not the smartest move, but I've done it before and learn from me. Okay, next up on my list is going to be zoning spaces in your kitchen or in different rooms. This is something I think that's gaining a lot of traction recently, and I think it's great. That is that if you have a bar area, put all your bar stuff, like your alcohol, put your, you know, wine glasses, put your little champagne, all the stuff I talked about earlier, right? But maybe you've got other cocktail things, little well, you got bottle openers, or maybe like a cute little wine corkscrewy thing, or maybe, you know, those little fun things that you might have accumulated over the years, right? Your little bar spoons, I don't know, a martini shaker, all that stuff. Store it in a particular zone. You don't need a dedicated bar necessarily, although fabulous if you have one. But if you don't, then just store all those items together and create a little zone for yourself. The tea station, the coffee station, that matters a lot, right? Considering your spice section, put your spices next to your kitchen stove, not so close that they get like heated and wet and whatever, but like put them in a nice, cute little drawer area so that you have access to these items when you're going to need them. Create different zones for different areas of your kitchen. I know this seems kind of obvious, but that's what this is about. Home organization seems obvious when you know it, but then you actually look at yourself and realize you don't do it. Have a coffee station, have a liquor station, have a spice station. You know, obviously the stations can mix because your kitchen's probably not that big, but you know, have this stuff sectioned out so that you're using the items that you're gonna be using together, use them at the same time. Don't put the spoons that your little spoons and little umbrellas and things that you use for cocktails, don't put that next to you in your cutlery drawer, because I know you think you're gonna use it every day, but you're not. Store it in the bar section. Okay, next on my list is gonna be have a put away basket. I'll be honest, this is one that I do not do because I live on my own, so I don't really feel like I need to do that. But I think this becomes really, really important when you have a family. So what is a put away basket? It is a basket that is marked for things to be put away. I know, that's why they called it that. It's genius, I know. But basically, if you have stuff that you know needs to go upstairs, but you just don't feel like going upstairs at the moment, you put it in the put away basket. You just put it in there so that you know that you can just, when you have a free moment, you can pick up all the stuff and you can go and actually put it away. So if you've got a book in there that you maybe read and you're like, yeah, this needs to go back upstairs on my bookshelf or back next to my bed, you know, next to my bed, or put it in the put away basket. And it's not something that you're not gonna deal with right now because again, I told you at the beginning of the video, I don't think 2 steps ahead. Like if I have to open my closet to put my keys in a dish, that's 2 steps, right? I'm putting stuff in and I'm opening a door. I don't have time for that. So what do I end up doing? I don't know, putting my keys in my jeans pocket and then going about my day and then go like, you know, where's my keys later on the next day or whatever. Like that's what I do. It needs to have 1 step in order for me to be able to do it. And that's why the put away basket is so genius, because it's just 1 step. It's 1 step. When you don't need something and you don't want to put it away right now, shove it in the basket. And then later on in the day, when you have a little bit of time, you can pick up the basket and you can do it all at once. And it's just so much easier that way, because otherwise it just sits on your coffee table, sits on your bed, sits on your floor, sits on the table, and it just never gets done. And it keeps all those items a little bit organized while you're waiting to actually put it away. Okay, and then next up on my list is going to be drawers are better than cupboards. Now I touched on this when I was talking earlier about the little drawer systems, the vertical drawer systems, but I think it's really worth worth mentioning here, especially if you're like doing a kitchen renovation or you're rejigging your kitchen or something. Just remember, drawers are better, right? Drawers are just better. I'm sorry, but those big giant cavernous cupboard systems that people have all over their kitchen, I understand they make a lot of sense. Some people will stand back and realize that more than half of their kitchen cabinetry are there these big giant cupboards, which are just honestly not all that helpful. Yes, you can store a KitchenAid in there, but it just is a waste of space because you probably actually don't. You have probably a lot more than your KitchenAid mixer that needs to go in there. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna shove other pots in there, you're gonna shove lids in there, you're gonna shove a bunch of crap in there, and it just becomes incredibly disorganized. Most of your stuff isn't that big and probably better suited to drawers. Drawers are better than cupboards. So if you're thinking about doing a renovation, I would consider prioritizing those. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm gonna link here to the part 1. So if you enjoyed You're Organizing Your House Wrong, maybe check out the part 1 version. I know a lot of you have. It was a super popular video, so go check out that one if you haven't seen it. A lot of people loved it. Some people didn't, but that's the nature of the internet. So go check that out, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.